You know, folks, I can recall a time when Toronto's nickname was Toronto the Good. The city was clean, it was safe, traffic moved. But today, Hogtown is in the midst of its worst crime wave ever. Homeless encampments are everywhere. The city has the worst traffic congestion in all of North America, third worst in the world. It's unbelievable. Pro-Hamas protesters shut down streets on a continual basis while chanting for the genocide of the Jewish people. And the mayor's response? Well, Olivia Chow likes to bury her head in the sand. Well, that is when she's not dressing up in costumes and shaking her booty. Unbelievable. And joining me now to discuss the rapid downward descent of People City is Suanne Levy of True North. How you doing there, Suanne?
I'm great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. You know, Suanne, I think we're both old enough to remember when Peter Ustinov, way back in 1987, described Toronto as New York as run by the Swiss. I would say, Suanne, those days are long gone. Your thoughts?
It's a third world city now. It's not run by the Swiss at all. It's, the massive influx of immigrants, mostly Jew haters, many Jew haters, I should say. I could see its downward descent way back in 2017, and you can't blame Olivia Chow entirely for this because it was really started under her predecessor, John Tory, when they started allowing safe injection sites in the city and encampments, illegal encampments, and just didn't take care of the infrastructure. And I remember doing a story back in 2017 about Seattle and that Toronto wasn't far from the demise of Seattle, which I think maybe is in a turnaround situation now, but Toronto has definitely become another Seattle.
You know, you raise a good point, Suanne. We know where Olivia Chow's politics are, but she's only been the mayor for about 1 year. Meanwhile, John Tory, he claims he's a conservative. You think he would bring common sense values to Toronto. But I don't know, maybe he was too busy chasing his mistress around the cottage when he was in office. But you're right. He supported things like Toronto being a sanctuary city, Toronto having safe injection sites. And we know just last summer, a beautiful mother of two out in Leslieville paid for her life simply walking by the Leslieville or the South Riverdale Community Center when two gangbangers got into a gunfight in broad daylight. Why did John Tory go down these horrible policy routes that we've seen take root in places traditionally like Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco?
Well, he governed from the left, and he let the left wing of council decide what policies should be put in place. And he didn't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up for many things that were right. And I guess in his mind, he thought that's how he's going to win on certain policies. But he didn't really win on anything. He just sort of cascaded Toronto into this huge descent by going along with all these crazy policies. And when he was mayor, I can't even remember everything that I wrote about that was just crazy, like the drug and safe injection sites, which they brought into play during his time, illegal encampments, which were cleared out post-pandemic, but then came back. And I think he felt he was very much beholden to special interests. And you cannot be beholden to special interests in this city because they just take over and they just want more. Now, Olivia Chow came in and I knew she was going to be a train wreck. I absolutely knew it. But I guess she had enough of progressives, and I hate that word because they're not really progressive, but she had enough progressives backing her along with Progress Toronto. And, I predicted that she would just continue the descent into this absolute, I can't say it on air, I guess, SHIT hole that Toronto has become. I mean, layer on top of that, the 10-month going on 11-month conflict, Israeli-Hamas conflict, and you've got all these would-be Hamasniks, would-be terrorists, taking over the streets of Toronto. And as I've learned many, many years ago covering anti-Semitism, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And it just gets worse and worse, and it has gotten worse.
And, I want to delve into that, what's happening on the streets of my beloved hometown, Suanne, and it's heartbreaking. And sometimes I look at the mobs and what they're saying and what they're doing,
Mhm.
and I can't even believe sometimes I'm in the Dominion of Canada. But, you touched upon special interest groups calling the shots. And, with all the problems facing Toronto that I went through in the preamble, you would think that the most pressing issue, according to Olivia Chow and the lefties on council, is renaming young Dundas Square Sankofa Square. Suanne, nobody wants this. The vast majority of Torontonians do not want this. We're supposed to be broke. That's the city that is. Yet this rebranding exercise, just for the square alone, it's going to be in the millions of dollars, and the streets and whatnot. And yet, if you have an issue with that, you're a racist. But make no mistake, the Dundas part, which is problematic for the people pushing the rebranding, that refers to Henry Dundas. He was an abolitionist. It seems that his sin, Suanne, was that he wasn't fast enough in being an abolitionist. What do you make of this fiasco going on right now?
Well, in Sankofa Square, it was named after this tribe or a group of people who were slave traders. So it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. I mean, between Sankofa Square and the deluge of bike lanes across the city, and of course, if you elect a biking mayor, though I would venture to say she doesn't do much biking these days because she's discovered the luxury of travel by, probably electric vehicle or, hybrid vehicle with a driver. So why bike anywhere with her flowered bike? But, the deluge of bike lanes, and I can talk about my own community. They're putting bike lanes on Eglinton, and nobody's going to use them except food delivery people. I've used the ones on Yonge Street. All I see when I use the ones on Yonge Street are food delivery carriers, various food delivery services. They come by me, and I don't see the average commuter using them.